This is a Sports Catastrophe production.
Hey there, Heather, ho there. It's Jeff Cutter Diamond. Welcome to another Sports Catastrophe on this day. And on this day, April the 18th, in the year 2008, the Seattle Sonics, who were a popular team in the Pacific Northwest, would be moving after 4 decades of action in Seattle to Oklahoma City and become the Thunder and become the third NBA team to locate in the 2000s. So there were a lot of things happening and all of that. So the Seattle Sonics were a decent team, and in 1979 they went to the NBA. They won the NBA Finals, giving the Pacific Northwest their second championship in 3 seasons, as the '77 Blazers gave Portland one. So anyway, Seattle were a decent team, and in 1994 they were the best team in the Western Conference, and it looked like they were going to be the team to try to dethrone the Bulls or whoever came out of the East. Sadly, though, Seattle suffered a first round KO to Denver, who were the 8th seed, in a shocking series. So, anyway, Seattle was plodding along. They got to the '96 NBA Finals but lost to the Bulls, the unstoppable Bulls that won 672 games. Right here. So, anyway, in 2001, ownership of the Sonics transferred from Barry Ackerley to Starbucks CEO Howard Schultz. Unfortunately, Schultz had a plan to sell, and the team had heavy financial losses. Schultz actually wanted to seek funding from the Washington state legislature for a new, more modern arena to replace Key Arena because, they were having problems with that arena and all that. Unfortunately, the city of Seattle could not agree on the expansion of Key Arena or a new stadium. So, anyway, the Basketball Club of Seattle sold the Sonics and its WNBA team, Seattle Storm. Of course, Key Arena was the NBA's smallest venue at 17,072 seats. It used to be, well, the Seattle Coliseum, and then they rebuilt it during the 94-95 season, and then they did it. But after failing to find a local ownership group to sell the team to, Schultz had talked to other ownership groups to try to sell the team. Kansas City, St. Louis, Las Vegas, San Jose, and Anaheim were interested. They wanted to move them there. Kansas City used to have the Kings franchise before it transferred to Sacramento in 1985, being kicked out ingloriously by the indoor soccer team, if everything was believed. St. Louis had the Hawks in the 50s that won the 1958 NBA title, a video I actually talked about this past week, and also the fact that they moved to Atlanta. Las Vegas was looking for their first professional sports team. San Jose had the Sharks, but wanted to have another uh, tenant at the HB Center. And Anaheim, you know, had the Clippers for a little bit of time. Clippers playing games in Anaheim at the Pond. But anyway, they did all that. But they all agreed to sell the team to an ownership group from Oklahoma City, which pursued an NBA franchise after having 2 seasons the city of New Orleans with the Hornets. So the New Orleans Hornets had to move to Oklahoma City for a few years while everything was rebuilt because of Hurricane Katrina. So the Seattle group sold the team to Clay Bennett for $350 million, and it was approved by NBA owners. But the terms of the sale required the new ownership group to use good faith best efforts to try to secure a new arena lease or venue in the Seattle area. Unfortunately, the voters of Seattle passed an initiative prohibiting the use of public money on sporting arenas. So basically, the lack of taxpayer or government financial support for the team, combined with early losses, doomed the Sonics' future. Bennett actually proposed using tax money in 2007 to pay for a $500 million arena in a suburb of Seattle, but failed miserably. Bennett gave up the chance in April 2007. And then in November 2007, it was officially stated that they would, as soon as they get out of their Key Arena lease, they're headed to OKC. However, Seattle's mayor had a stance that the Sonics were expected to stay in Seattle until 2010 with their lease expiring and all of that. They passed an ordinance and all of that. So, of course, you know, it was there. But it was clear as day as Bennett was going to stand the team in Oklahoma City, and practically, they wanted all that. So anyway, there was a chance in March 2008. The prospect of expanding Key Arena resurfaced when Steve Ballmer, who was Microsoft CEO at the time, promised that his investor group would pay half of the $300 million needed for extensive renovation. The rest could be provided by the city and county. But the state legislation did not give approval for the county to provide funds and all that. So anyway, it was humongous and all of that. So anyway, the voters of Oklahoma City unanimously approved a renovation of the Ford Center to fit the NBA arenas and all that. So April 18th, 2008, it was official. The Seattle Supersonics were going to move to Oklahoma City and become the Oklahoma City Thunder by a vote of 28-2. The only two negative votes were by Portland's Paul Allen and Dallas's Mark Cuban. Anyway, the city of Seattle tried their best to get their basketball team back. But unfortunately, it did not really happen and all that. So, anyway, that was what happened. And the whole brouhaha ended as Seattle lost their basketball team and Oklahoma City gained theirs. The Thunder were a decent team. When they had Kevin Durant and James Harden on their team and Russell Westbrook, they were pretty good. But of course, they went on to different teams and had different perspectives and different winning moments, which kind of crushes Oklahoma City in a sense. The Thunder plod along. They're decent. They have Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, a Canadian, in there. And the city of Seattle has been trying for years to get a basketball team. They have a new arena, the Climate Pledge Arena, which could host basketball too. So maybe Seattle will get an NBA team by expansion or by relocation. But we'll see about that. Anyhow, I'm Jeff Diamond. Adieu.